Hello and welcome to the Dub Talk Space Hotel. Before you check in, allow us to go over the rules for our guests. Number 1. The staff at the Dub Talk Space Hotel may use language and content that may not be suitable for younger audiences. Guest discretion is advised. Second, the staff at the Dub Talk Space Hotel will discuss spoilers pertaining to all of the Orbital Children, and may discuss spoilers for other series, so guests who want a fresh experience may want to book a room at a later date. Number 3. The views and opinions of the staff of the Dub Talk Space Hotel do not reflect those of the Dub Talk Space Hotel as a whole, so please don't sue us. And number 4. The Dub Talk Space Hotel is not liable for any faulty space equipment, sudden meteor strikes, or terrorist attacks you may deal with during your stay. Again, please don't sue us. We've already gone bankrupt. Enjoy your stay. Hello and welcome to Dub Talk, where a group of nerds come together to talk about the latest in English dubs for anime, and I guess just totally screw around, this time in space. So anyway, I'm Jet, and I'm joined tonight by Amon.
Howdy.
Megan.
Megan!
And no clue.
Yeah, I gotta say, Jet, when you told us you wanted to cover the second episode of Futurama where they get trapped on the moon, I was really surprised, but I can't say I disagree with that choice.
No, wow.
Alright.
Wow, yeah, I can already tell we're recording this late, I'm quite tired. Anyway.
Technically, Amon is two Noahs stacked on top of each other in a trench coat.
I am not that tall.
You're pretty tall.
Yeah, you are quite tall.
And I am pretty short, so yes.
So three Noahs.
Anyway, it's been a long time coming, but we're all finally here to talk about Digimon. Wait, no, we're not.
Oh man.
When that Discotheque Blu-ray comes out, yeah, we are.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah. But,
by the way, thank you Discotheque for salvaging the.
Please get Frontier. Megan wants to do a Frontier episode.
that would be nice to get that dream out of the way.
Sorry, Noah. You were saying?
I was saying thank you Discotheque for putting out high-res versions of that show so that people don't have to salvage like the the TV rips with the bad interlacing and the Disney Toon logo at the bottom corner of it.
Do you mean the Flatreon editions? Because I do in fact own the Digimon Frontier version.
Yeah, those masters are not great. It'd also be nice to have subs available that aren't terrible, because I'm pretty sure the only ones that exist are like ones that we did like way back in the 2000s, and they are notoriously terrible.
I think they're splitting that release though on just like a double-only and a sub-only.
They are.
version.
That's true, but at least it's available for the first time.
Yeah. Oh, I'm probably gonna buy both of them. So anyway, but this isn't what we're talking about. Not yet, anyway.
Let's hope you can buy this someday on home video.
Hopefully, I guess it depends on how our overlord Netflix feels. But anyway, we are here tonight to talk about the latest series from Mitsuo Iso, the famed director of Denno Coil. We're here to talk about the Orbital Children. Technically, the original title is Extraterrestrial Boys and Girls, but they got localized as Orbital Children because I guess Netflix thought that it was more marketable.
Well, in fairness, if you're starting a show called Extraterrestrial Boys and Girls, I'd assume it's about like actual aliens that are like green or something.
This is true.
I was gonna say,
Amon, that's racist. Are you saying that all people from outer planets are green?
No.
I thought you were better
just
than that.
the ones from Mars.
But they need moms.
No. No. We don't reference it. You brought that evil on my house, Bobby Boucher. You get that out of here.
Make me. I was gonna say no. If they called it Extraterrestrial Boys and Girls, everybody would be like, "Man, this is a really weird ET spinoff." There's not even Reese's Pieces in this.
So anyway, if you haven't seen the show, I would pull off a synopsis off of A&N, but they don't have one for some reason, so instead I'm pulling in one from Anime Planet, which you should always use instead of Ball, because Ball is terrible. Anyway, in the year 2045, where the internet and AI are commonplace, even in space, The story centers on a group of children stranded in space after a large-scale accident occurs in a space station. By using narrowband, social networking, and a drone that they can manipulate through smartphones and AI, they overcome many crises. Some crises include things like getting trapped in a space hotel, conspiracy theories, and man, I don't know why I'm blanking on the last one.
My internet is down. Why is my internet down?
No, the big thing they have to the battle is the one thing that hasn't been corrupted by capitalism. Space!
Except in this show it has, because everything's corrupted by capitalism now.
That made me so mad. Yeah, you're right. The show directly...
Tim Curry looks to the sky and a single tear rolls down his cheek. Command and conquer this.
To me? I mean, it makes sense that you're gonna need money to fund the equipment to get people to outer space, and so therefore there will have to be commercials.
Also, there's like chips in kids' heads to make sure that they don't die of moon syndrome.
No, that's only if they were born on the moon.
Yep.
You wouldn't download a kid, would you?
Well, not unless you want to get on certain FBI watch lists. No, probably not.
Oh, God!
Would that make them an NFT? Non-fungible teenagers?
God damn it! I hate that this is the second night in a row that I've recorded when I've made a joke about children being turned into NFTs. Or there have been jokes about turning children into NFTs. Which makes me have to do my favorite joke of all time about NFTs, because they stuck, which is, ooh, Yuki Boy, I've made your grandfather into an NFT.
Was that a Yu-Gi-Oh reference?
Yes, it's the fucking funniest Yu-Gi-Oh joke.
Yeah, someone made that a while ago. It's beautiful. Oh, Yugi Boy, I trust your grandfather in the blockchain.
That's what S wanted the entire time. S just wanted to upload Koda to the blockchain.
So this is I'm glad you brought up the director Mitsuo Iso, because like you mentioned, he's probably best known in our circle as the director of Den Coil, but he's also a really prolific mech designer and animator who's been in like a bunch of different studios, including like Production IG and Studio Ghibli too.
He's been around a long time. I'm pretty sure he also did some work on Ava, so yeah, he's been around a while.
If you saw the final episode of this show, if you saw the characters waxing philosophically with artificial intelligence, I'm like, this is just a ripoff of End of Evangelion.
I was gonna say, shit, hold on, I have to look up this movie.
Oh my god.
What the fuck was this kid's name? Oh man, I love this new rendition of AI artificial intelligence where Haley Joel Osment talks to the blockchain to keep his little sister from being absorbed. Steven Spielberg looks to the sky as a single tear rolls down his cheek.
It's good that you started mentioning science fiction movies right off the bat, because this show doesn't necessarily like reference other science fiction books and movies, but it pulls from themes that we've seen in a lot of them as well. The idea of people needing to leave outer space, overpopulation problems, the dangers of traveling in space, artificial intelligence. There's a hodgepodge of hard science fiction. This is not your grandfather's science fiction.
Yeah, I feel like Mitsuo Iso's aesthetic in general could just be described as like but some hard sci-fi concepts mixed together with like Summer Wars, and that is basically his entire aesthetic.
There is a lot of Summer. You're not wrong.
I was gonna say, did you say Digimon met Summer Wars? I'm like, aren't they the same thing?
They are. They are.
Only part of Summer Wars.
His thing feels like he's read a lot of like old English language science fiction. And is like, I like this, but can it be less 1953 maybe? I like this concept, but like not so old and stodgy and blindly optimistic about progress in science and crap.
Yeah,
and that was the whole reason that he chose kids as the main characters, is that space travel is usually reserved for older people, like military experts and people who've done years of training. So he wanted to show, like, you know, in a couple of decades, it'll probably be so commonplace that children can travel into outer space with relative ease.
Makes sense.
It makes sense. That was kind of the general conceit with Denogoyle, so focusing on stuff like virtual pets and whatnot.
Which, by the way...
Also, no,
Jet...
I'm sorry, I have to break bad news to you.
Absolutely. Break the bad news. I'd love to hear that.
Encanto won Best Picture!
Son of a fucking bitch! God damn it!
So predictable.
Bleep, bleep, bleep. Cuss, cuss, mother cussing, cuss! I knew it was gonna happen. I knew it was
It's a
gonna
good
happen,
movie,
but I
though!
just had her.
It's not about the quality of the movie. It's the Academy's insistence on not recognizing anyone other than Disney makes good animated movies.
Look, no.
Anyway, back
Yeah,
on
you can
track.
cut
I'm sorry, I just had to break the news too.
I know, it's fine. Just remember, people. We don't talk about food.
Jet, I poke.
No. We don't talk.
Not only do I have to deal with Encanto being Best Animated Feature now, even though it didn't win at the Annie Awards, but also my daughter Ruby really, really likes the soundtrack, and she has been singing all of the songs and all of the lyrics nonstop for weeks now.
Okay, to be fair, Dos Oregitas kicks ass, and I will actually fight you.
That's the only
on
one
that.
she hasn't been singing.
Tell your daughter to get better taste.
I'm sorry, I don't have her in Spanish immersion.
There's an English version of that.
Anyways.
Whatever.
Yeah, back
Back
to
on the
Orbital
track.
Children.
I just smacked myself in the face.
Anyway, we've been on quite a tangent here, but we should probably be talking about the dub for this show.
Yes.
That is
really
the
good.
gimmick, isn't it?
Anyway, as always, we start off the show by talking about the ADR staff, being the ADR director and the adaptive scriptwriter. So the ADR director for this series is one Suzanne Goldis, who has directed dubs for such shows as Bungo Stray Dogs, Boruto Naruto Next Generations, Tiger and Bunny, and Digimon Last Evolution Kizuna.
Oh, nice.
And
Oh, no wonder this sounded so
Yeah.
good. Man, the Digimon theme going through tonight will be strong.
trust me, I'm not done with that quite
Well,
yet.
now hold on.
And,
That's only for the director. I'm sure the scriptwriter has no Digimon connections.
Okay, so Jeff Newboy has
my
been around for a long time, and he's done scripts on such shows as That Spell, Bleach, and Digimon Adventure, Digimon Adventure 02, Digimon Data Squad, and Digimon Adventure Last Evolution Kizuna.
Did you say Jeff Nimoy?
Yes. I also skipped a couple of Digimon things because if I was listening to Digimon credits for him, we'd be here a while.
Jeff Nimoy is in fact the American version of the Digimon franchise. They're like, you know how there's different parts, but like if you wanted to like, I don't know, cut the Digimon Hydra, you'd have to kill Jeff Nimoy first.
For sure.
But you'd never want to kill the Tentamon.
Yeah, Tentamon's okay. On the scale of Digimon partners, Tentamon is pretty cool, but he's not Gabumon or Gomamon.
That's true. But as was posted in one of our Discord servers, Anjouwamon can get it.
Noah,
Okay, I'll be right
go
back.
to jail.
Continue.
Episode right off the bat, I think this was a pretty solid little dub. It came together pretty well for the most part. I definitely appreciated that one thing they did here. That I mean, it's obviously important for a show like this, but not every dub necessarily does well. I appreciate that they got in actors who could do like pretty convincing child voices, which is the ultimate thing I liked about the dub for Denogoyle. And I think that all the actors here actually have like pretty convincing child voices. Sounds like maybe our lead who needed like maybe a line or two to like adjustment was otherwise pretty good after that.
Now, see, I will bring this up when we bring up the discussion about the lead character, in that I do kind of agree that his is the least kid sounding. But if you listen to the Japanese, it's about the same pitch too, and he is supposed to be 14 years old. So I don't hold them as much of a grudge for that one.
Yeah, so, I don't hold a grudge against. I don't hold a grudge against him. It's just kind of like a minor thing, and like
right.
And like I said before, after like a line or two, he adjusts pretty quickly.
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty consistent too. It helps that this is only a 6-episode mini series essentially, so there's not room for a lot of variation. But Suzanne's direction is to deviate from serious to goofy when it needs to be, and then to dramatic when things are like death-defying. And so there's not, I don't really think there's a lot of like deviation, not just in the way the individual characters talk, but also amongst each other. Everyone kind of sounds like they come from the same universe.
But she's always been a very consistent director, and I've usually been pretty happy with everything she does, and she definitely brought that consistency here, I think.
Now, which Digimon film did you say that Suzanne directed? The dub of?
She did
the good one.
The last Evolution Kizuna film.
Which sounded really good.
The good recent Digimon movie.
So many thoughts on the Tri.
Talk about the Tri films.
The Tri films don't exist. Don't ever bring up Meikumon in any conversations. That is ground for being turned into a Digi-Egg. I will say though, I really like this dub because I actually am. I particularly like a lot of Suzanne's work. Like Jet brought it up that she did effectively what I thought was the best Crunchyroll produced funded dub up until '86, which was Bungo Stray Dogs. I think she's done absolutely fantastic with that. And I think to me, I didn't ever really feel like the kids sounded either too old or too young, because I was really captivated by how well Jeff Nimoy's adaptive script made everything sound natural. And it's something that I felt was also a really big boon for another show that was very sci-fi out, and probably more out there than Orbital Children is. Orbital Children, literally takes place in outer space. The writing here reminded me, the adaptive writing technique here reminded me a lot of what Tyler Walker and Matt Shipman did for Sunny Boy, where the technobabble is able to very much interlace well with the emotional stakes of the show. Because, like, the last episode is a lot of, like, quantum computing stuff, but you can still feel a very familiar anime tension of wanting to save somebody you deeply care about.
Yeah, I agree. I also kind of liked the way Jeff Nimoy kind of worked around not some of the some of the stuff that was like not like explicitly Japanese, but might be like a little tricky to translate. There's a bit in the beginning where they kind of lead into into our leading boy Toya being a bit of a chuny. So they do directly address what is commonly called like 8th grader syndrome in Japan, which is kind of like what Chunio translates to.
I gotta admit that's the first time I've heard anyone actually use the term Chinio in like a casual conversation. Like the same way you would name drop words like otaku or weeb, and so I'm kind of intrigued that term has caught on a lot more in the last decade, because it wasn't 10 years ago.
Yeah, I say it all the time in things. But anyway, that does come up, so they do. That does come up, and they do like briefly kind of work around it by just mentioning like middle school sickness, which is like, which I mean, it's still a little awkward, but like it works well enough. And then you get other stuff like with Mina's whole YouTuber stick, and going like Mina.
But technically, she is animated.
She's not a VTuber. She's just a Twitch streamer. She doesn't have a rig.
Yeah,
you stop that.
And they could have like translated Mina as like like Mina everyone or something like that. I do think like Mina kind of works in a sense of like it definitely
yeah.
does like the sort of cringy thing a teenager on YouTube would do. So I feel like it works well.
She's still less cringeworthy than Ninja.
It is interesting to watch what is today still kind of niche entertainment, that being the Twitch live stream, and show it kind of how it would evolve into the future. And this being directed and the brainchild of a slightly older animation director. This isn't like a millennial or even a Gen Zer doing this. This is like a full-on boomer who understood that concept enough to integrate it into the show. So I'm glad that they did it justice in the dub.
Also, I like the fact that Mina's streaming, and this is something that I know Noah and I are going to discuss again later this summer. I do really like the fact that as a show, Orbital Children never treats the grandness of the internet and our ability to communicate through it as something that is very malicious or very like
to be mocked or
yeah, like it's kind of like the very difference of a lot of cynical Western live action films about the internet, how it's dangerous and seedy and it can't be trusted and it's a place of evil and stuff. When in this case, had Mina not been live streaming everything, no one would have ever known about this.
And the show integrates more than just her streaming to explain the internet. They describe peer-to-peer communication. They use laser technology to communicate when they don't have voice abilities. It's like written by someone, or at least a team, who was really fascinated by the capabilities of the internet, not just as a toy, but as a resource for the far future and how it could really be used.
Oh, cool. Amon, did you have anything to say?
That's good.
Sorry.
That's fine. I don't know, it's a good dub. It's the kind of dub where I didn't really think about like it being a dub that much. Just like, that's good.
Well, that's the best kind.
I mean, everyone sounded good. Like the character, I have not seen Denu Coil. Fun fact.
Neither have I.
Fun fact. Denu Coil is the only anime I ever torrented back when I was a teenager, and I tested one file to make sure it's playing correctly, and then proceeded to never watch it.
That is a very 2010s thing to say.
Was this the 2010s? Is my still? No, this would have been the 2000s. I wasn't in college yet.
You were talking. Oh, like even before it hit home video. That's right, because it took a while after it actually came out for it to even become available in America.
Didn't it only hit home video within like the last it
only hit home video within like the last maybe 6 years, I would say.
Yeah, like I remember that coming out and being like, oh my god, Denocoil, that's so old now. I'm shocked that got licensed.
Brought to us by Made in Japan. May they rest in peace.
Yeah, right.
Peace.
Yeah, it was definitely very surprising that got done, but I welcome it.
Yeah, I haven't seen Denocoil, but I'm interested in seeing it in part because I vaguely recall, like, I torrented it because it sounded like it was good. And I feel like one of the things it brought up was that, like, there's a lot of heady sci-fi in here, but it still feels very grounded. Like, it's good at writing characters that feel very real and authentic, and I haven't not watched the show, I can't say whether or not that's true, but I definitely think that's true about this. These all feel like actual people. Mm-hmm. And I think the dub does a good job of carrying that across. Like, these feel like a bunch of teenagers in a situation that's a little above their heads, and all the adults are not even useless, just like either non-present or not really in a position to do anything about it. Sorry, guys. Oops. Yeah, it's good.
My question to this group is that we were kind of talking about Jeff Nimoy's adaptation of the tech lingo and everything into the script. Was there anything that you guys felt kind of went over your heads that you didn't quite get from the English dub?
Define get.
I think not upon... There's a lot that went over my head in the first rewatch, but that wasn't the dub's fault.
Okay.
That's just the show.
Yeah, look, I gotta turn my brain off whenever they were talking like quantum physics, but I got everything else.
You're not thinking 11th
No, I'm a
dimensional.
humanities major. I don't know what the fuck math is.
I'm reminded of a quote I saw someone once say talking about basically like Star Trek TV shows, where a lot of the times like the technobabble's not really like it's not supposed to be like real. It's just kind of like poetry almost. Like you're not supposed to worry about what it actually means. Just let it flow over you. I know like I know enough about science that it's like, yeah, some of this sounds correctish. I couldn't articulate any of it, but this sounds like plausible. They did some research, I feel like, even if they're kind of in that realm of like, okay, what does this look like in like a few decades?
I think the one thing that specifically I don't know if it's real or if they just made it up for the show is the AI limiters. The idea about having like levels that your AI's intelligence can only go to, and you have to basically grant it the permission to essentially think bigger. I'm not sure if that's actually part of AI that we have nowadays.
That is 100% I think this show made up, but that's definitely not a new idea to science fiction.
Yeah, I don't like that is made up in the sense that we do not have AI complicated enough to worry about. Like that is a problem when like, are you familiar with, you know what the singularity is?
Yes. The idea.
Right, that is a, like, when the singularity becomes, like, a thing that might happen, then you start worrying about, like, intelligence dampeners for AI. We are nowhere near there, so, yeah. Skynet again. Come on, guys, we've tried to destroy you, like, 5 times now. Just die already.
That was another good, that's a refreshing thing about, basically all the solo series that Mitsuo Iso has directed is that he's kind of optimistic and with AI when they have they have bright and dark or dark bright go to like their highest level of intelligence. Of course, I'm thinking, okay, they're going to decide humans we don't need to take orders from humans. Let's just destroy them all. And I thought it was going to be like Skynet, but it doesn't quite do that. It shows a little more optimistic than that.
Oh yeah. See, EA won't always hurt us when we get them intelligence. Anyway, we spent a good amount of time talking about the ADR stuff, so I guess we should get into some of the actually all the cast here, because this is a pretty short series, and frankly, there's only maybe 10 characters, so. So instead of doing sections, we're just gonna pretty much go down the whole list at once.
To the moon.
Settle down, Elon.
So anyway, going in reverse, playing the chief, who's basically like this weird looking rabbit mascot.
That is so in a sailor suit, no less. In a girl's sailor suit.
It's beautiful.
Up until the reveal, I was for sure thought that was a robot.
So did I!
It's gonna be even more than that. It was Jet, help me out. What was the name of the the smiling-faced, big-handed characters in Denocoil that were policing the kids? Do you remember which I'm talking about?
Okay, I have to see if I can do the bit right.
Oh no.
I'm Searchy.
That's it, Searchy. That's it.
Okay, yeah, I gotta pitch my voice high enough for that.
No, that's what I thought it was gonna be. Because in Denocoil, Searchy is not a physical creature. It's only visible in the world of the glasses. So that's what I thought Chief was. I was also surprised with the reveal that this is not only a real thing, it's a person.
Yes, it's actually just an old man in a suit. But playing that old man in a suit is Kyle Mccarley, who has voiced such characters as Albo Kurunuma in Durara Season 2, Ichibatsu in Mizuru Sabatsu, Mikazuki Agis in Mobile Suit Gundam Iron Blooded Orphans, and Mob in Mob Psycho 100. Next.
Man, Mob Psycho 100 season 100 goes to a weird place.
Playing Izuko Darmson Nobeyama, who is basically just a nice lady of some. I'm not sure what accent that's supposed to be exactly, but
Russian, I think, is my guess.
Yeah,
I think she's Russian.
They kind of sound like Russian.
Which was not in the Japanese, but
What does a Russian accent sound like in Japanese?
I don't know. Go ask the cast of Oarana, the vampire cosmonaut.
Anyway, playing her, we have one Julie Nathanson who doesn't have a ton of anime credits, but has been in some stuff. She has played such characters as Farrah Brown in Great Pretender, Ashley Fields in Eden, Susie's mother in Belle, and Chloe in Ninjala.
Jet, would you like a fun fact?
Sure, go ahead.
Do you know what Nobayama is?
No.
It's a radio observations, it's an astronomical observatory in Japan.
Ah, that's beautiful.
So apparently NASA Houston is not the only dumb joke in this show.
Yeah, I think a lot of the characters are references to like Japanese astronauts.
I'm not surprised to learn
Yeah,
yes, that famous astronaut 12.
Yep. Speaking of which, we do have 12, which is one of the robot AIs in the show. Who is just mostly kind of there for a little bit of comic relief every now and then. I will shut up. Anyway, playing 12, we have Elijah Ugveri, who also doesn't have a lot of anime credits. In fact, he only has one other notable anime credit. And that being Suzuki in Commentary of the Iron Fortress. And I'm pretty sure the reason why that is that, I think he's actually from Australia, so that'll explain why he's not in a lot of stuff.
Really?
Oh! Is he the guy that, in the Japanese version of Commentary of the Iron Fortress, he was the glasses guy?
Yeah, he's that guy.
Okay, that's what I was like, that's the glasses guy from Kabanari.
Yep, that.
That they dubbed over for some stupid reason.
Okay, I imagine they were, obligated to dub over that, so, yeah.
Why just not get him back to...
Anyway, next we have Mayor Sagami, who is kind of, as the name would suggest, is kind of the mayor of the space hotel. And he is also Toya's uncle. Mm-hmm. And he is played by one Ray Chase, who you would know for playing such characters as Fyodor Dostoevsky in Mugo's Stray Dogs, Roswell L. Maffers in ReZero, Hank in Tootie and Bandit Sacred Beasts, and I couldn't find any Digimon credits to link to him, but he's in that other monster franchise. He's Professor Cerise in Pokemon Journeys.
Swerve.
Digimon without the plot for vanilla children.
Ooh. Megan, don't bring the 90s back. We've been trying to kill it all decade. I don't want it to bring back the Pokemon Digimon Wars.
Yeah, next up we have Bright, who is another AI. Specifically, he's the AI who kind of serves Tayo, our President Space Cop.
He's a cop.
He's a narc, is what he is.
So Bright's a lot of fun and kind of has the most convincing robot voice, which is something I appreciate. And giving us that robot voice is one Christopher Swindle, who has played such characters as Jack Hanma and Baki, Heidan and Tower of God, Kenya Tachibana and Millennium Actress, and Hakumon and Digimon Adventure Last Evolution Kizuna.
You say the most convincing robot voice. How many robots have you heard talk?
Okay, I mean, I've heard enough robot voices in movies and stuff.
Okay.
I think I know what a convincing robot voice sounds like.
Hold on a second. I want to see if I can trigger someone's. Alexa, play Welcome to the Jungle and let out the Roomba with the Claymore.
That's a reference that no one listening to this is gonna get, Megan.
Absolutely. That's why I did it. Now they can all be confused when they realize that they've got a Roomba with a Claymore in the closet.
Okay. So next on the list we have NASA Houston, who is kind of like a nerd on his.
Houston.
Who's just kind of a nerd on his space station who looks after Tayo and Koda. And there is absolutely nothing suspicious about the name NASA Houston, just nothing at all. Wait, what's this about her secretly being a terrorist?
Hey, yeah, subtlety was not in the cards when they named this character.
Now you say that,
No.
but I have a 6-word rebuttal for that. Would you like to hear it?
Go ahead.
What is it? NASA Houston is a Gundam name.
What?
And are you not familiar with the long tradition of characters in Gundam having the silliest names imaginable?
No, I am. I've just never heard NASA Houston as one of the characters before.
No, there's no character in Gundam called NASA Houston. It is that is the exact kind of name that people in Gundam have.
Okay.
No one in Gundam is named Chip Zdarsky, but they would absolutely name a Gundam character Chip Zdarsky, you know?
You bring up a good point. That's a tradition of that show I
Like,
kind of forgot about.
Literally, a guy is named Char on Blaze.
Because subtlety.
Okay, put it in the comments of this video. Make up your best Gundam name.
And that is your porn name.
But anyway,
Mobile Strip Gundam.
anyway, as I mildly joked,
AKA Darling in the Franks. I'm not wrong, that is literally Mobile
So who
Strip
voices
Gundam.
NASA Houston is a Gundam.
So anyway, voicing our resident nurse who is actually a terrorist is one Abby Trott, who has played such characters as Rico Ida in Kuroko's Basketball,
My girl.
Ichi Misato in Mob Psycho 100, Casey Ann in Super Crooks, and Yo Asakura in the 2021 version of Shaman King. And next up we have Kodaha, who is one of the Moon Children, who was born in space, but living in space is kind of comes with its own set of problems because it turns out when you're born in space you have trouble with density things like gravity, and also you get sick really easily. So she has a lot of health problems and kind of has a chip in her body that's supposed to help with those problems, but may also be killing her. So that's kind of a thing.
She also has a health android that has a face of like a panda.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it's like it feels like a colostomy bag.
It is kind of attached like that. You're not wrong.
Yeah, like if she's got I kind of want to appreciate the fact that the two of the big characters in the show are disabled.
You're right.
Technically.
You're right.
Yeah. So playing Kodaha, we have one Cassandra Lee Morris, who has played such characters as Taga Aisaka in Toradora, Atra Mixa in Moments Who Got Admired by the Orphans, Troniko in Mr. Osamatsu, and once again I could not find any Digimon credits, which is honestly kind of weird considering how good Cassandra Lee Morris is at children's voices. But anyway, while she has not been in a Digimon thing yet, she was Yubel in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, which I always like to mention because that's just a weirdly deep cut.
You'll have to be the judge of if it's a deep cut for the rest of, or for me at least, because I haven't seen Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. Probably never will.
I was going to say is Yubel is kind of like the gayest character in Yu-Gi-Oh!, which is honestly saying a lot.
Yeah. Remember that time in Yu-Gi-Oh! Where they had to omit an entire season from America because Jaden committed genocide?
Good times.
Well, you couldn't make any Digimon comparisons for Cassandra, and I bet you won't be able to for the next character on the list either.
Yeah, so the next character on our list is Hirochi Tanakashima, who is the younger brother of Mina, and is just kind of like a dorky kid who looks up to Toya a lot. And you were gonna say something?
I was gonna say, even though Toya's got the likability of stepping on a Lego at the beginning.
Yeah, so playing Hiroshi, we have one Colleen Oshagnisi, who has played such characters as Ino Yamanaka in Naruto, Mary Hunt in My Next Life as a Villainess, Tails in the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise, including a live-action movie, which, good for her. I'm glad they're crediting her properly now.
Indeed.
Bullying corporations works.
Indeed it does. And of course, for the purposes of maintaining the joke, she is also Sora Takanuchi in the Digimon Adventure franchise.
There you go. Couldn't resist.
Wait.
You didn't know that she was
her?
Sora?
You didn't know that was Sora?
Oh, that's interesting.
It's been like...
And has maintained she's stayed Sora for pretty much all the modern English books, right?
She stayed Sora through Digimon Adventure, through Zero Two, through the Tri films, and even in Last Evolution Kizuna.
Yeah. So you know what? That's all right. You didn't know that, but now you know, Megan. You got smarter today.
I want you to know that I literally just stared for like 5 minutes into the abyss as the blue screen in my brain restarted.
Is Simon and Garfunkel playing in the background somewhere?
Absolutely.
So speaking of Mina, next we have Mina Misasa, who is... Okay, look, the best way to describe this character is basically just, what if Mimi was a Twitch streamer?
Now, Jet, we already had Megan do the Mina thing. You got to do your best Mina impression now. High-pitched voice and everything.
Mina.
Yeah! It never gets old.
What?
I had Jet do the Mina thing.
Oh, cool, yes.
Are you recovered yet? Have you rebooted?
Yeah, brain's coming on.
As mentioned before, this character is basically just Mimi as a Twitch streamer, and it's great.
That's why Mina's the best character in the show.
She is indeed. And playing this character is Juan Terra Sands, who has been around a long time and has played such characters as Biscuit Kruger in Hunter x Hunter 2011, Mokuba Kaiba in Yu-Gi-Oh!, Anna Kiriyama in Shaman King, both the original show and the reboot, and Kari Kamiya in Digimon Adventure Tri, which is probably the only time we're mentioning Tri tonight.
And for good reason.
Oh, she wasn't her in Last Evolution.
I'm trying to remember if Kari was even in Last Evolution. If she was, then she probably did reprise her.
She wasn't very prominent, but everyone had at least one line of dialogue in The Last Evolution.
Kari definitely didn't have a lot of speaking lines in that movie.
Which is fine, because...
Yeah, and she's probably not going to have a lot when 2020, the new Digimon Adventure 2020 comes over to the US.
Kari gets a decent amount of speaking lines and not much character, but she does talk a lot.
Yeah, the only character development in that series is for Tai.
Indeed.
Speaking of a tie...
So moving up the list. Next we have Tayo Tsukaba, who is an honorary member of UN2 and is... Okay, basically his whole deal is that he really, really, really wants to be a cop and is too stupid to realize that no one should ever aspire to be a cop.
Just, this kid's a narc and it almost gets them killed a bunch.
See, this is what made me think of this whole, like... He's riffing on old-timey science fiction a little bit, because old-timey sci-fi is full of cops. And usually it's in their favor. Here, not so much.
I don't even know if that's like a riff on old-school sci-fi, because that's kind of a recurring theme, is not just cops, but bureaucracy itself is a hindrance to everything. So,
Oh, absolutely. Just contextually, it made sense there.
You're right. I think it's just sad that theme has not gotten less relevant in the last 70 years.
It is quite depressing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but what's not depressing is Tyler's voice actor, one Adam McArthur, who has played such characters as Trumpet in My Hero Academia, Yuri in Sagan, Patrick and Ricky in Shadow's House, and Yuji Todori Jujutsu Kaisen. But of course,
Plus one to Adam McArthur's Punchable Children list.
But of course, for all you normal people out there, you would know him as Marco Diaz in Tsar and the Force of the People.
Who's not punchable, from my understanding.
Yeah, also from my understanding. And lastly, we have our lead, Toya Sagami, who, as we mentioned before, is kind of a cutie, and is also the other moon child in space. He also kind of has a hard time adjusting to gravity and stuff, and he's also a pretty big conspiracy theorist, definitely into the idea that all Earthlings should die to kind of lower the human population and whatnot.
It will decrease the surplus population.
He's just a very angry little boy.
I mean, I don't know if he's got reason to be angry, sure, but he was definitely influenced by NASA Houston's influence just a little too much.
Okay, yeah. I mean, this is true, but I'm pretty sure she wasn't giving him, like, all the conspiracy theories.
He's alone and isolated and male and on the internet. And from what I've read from the last 6 years, that's it. Like, you'll latch on anything that makes you feel anything at all.
And he's
Look
probably
at Reddit.
He's probably also got a big head from what is it, like 100 million followers on social media.
It being very popular for reasons that I don't think he actually cares about will also mess you up, yes.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So playing Toya, we have one Griffin Burns, who has played such characters as Ryota Suzuki and Kakegurui, Shinichi Kudo in the new Detective Conan movies, Tadano in Agretsuko, and just because and just to keep the name going, and also because I think it'll be funny to mess with Megan a bit, Davis Mutamiya in Digimon Adventure Last Evolution Kizuna.
Haha, joke's on you, I haven't watched that.
Well, we need to change that when we're done here.
You're gonna have to fucking hold me down, because I don't want to cry.
Oh, don't lie. You've seen enough sad anime before. I know you like to cry.
Shut up, I don't have a fucking crying kink.
Okay, so anyway...
I will watch Last Evolution Kizuna with you if all of you agree to sit and watch the best sports movie ever made.
Airbud?
Slapshot?
Close, but no. Slapshot is my second favorite hockey movie.
Lucky guess.
Oh, was it that one Disney movie about the Olympic hockey team?
Yeah, I fucking love Miracle. It's the best sports movie. But thank you, Amon, for immediately going to Slapshot.
I never watched Slapshot, but it sounds amazing.
Yeah, I feel like Slapshot would be like the Me, You, Patrick, and Hardy movie.
Meanwhile, I'm a normie because when you said Disney and hockey, my mind just immediately went to the Mighty Ducks.
Also a good choice.
I'm sorry, I should have said
Quack,
the Disney Jerry
quack,
Bruckheimer
quack.
Disney hockey movie.
Quack, 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 quack. Now just imagining all of the characters in this movie going, S, S! Or no, 7!
Anyway, I feel like we can probably start with the adults here because they kind of have the least to do in this movie.
That's true.
Yeah, give it up for the one Australian guy, using a 3D printer to punch a fucker.
Yeah, I'm also pretty sure that was Mccarley, and yeah, he was pretty fun.
No, it wasn't Kyle McCarley. It was, Kyle McCarley tries to punch out NASA, but then he gets knocked out, and then one of the guys up with Ray Chase and the girl uses a 3D printer to punch somebody.
The Australian guy is the robot who gets sucked out into space.
Oh!
Yeah.
Yeah, the other guy with them, I'm pretty sure was also Kyle McCarley.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, speaking of Kyle McCarley, what the fuck?
So, I think we can agree that Kyle's got quite some range. And that's totally not voice-pitched to get that high voice at all.
I was also talking about, the old man who's butt naked on the inside.
Definitely some real Kyle McCarley was able to pull that off, and it was pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think pieces of poo flicked off his ass, which was
He's not butt naked on the inside, it's that his suit is like, it looks like a naked person. I think that's what it was, wasn't it? Was there like that scene where they were scavenging for suits so they could do a spacewalk, and they found a couple...
No, he was naked on the inside.
He's wearing like some really gross underwear. He's not technically naked.
Okay.
He's mostly naked, which is too much for teenagers to
You see, the problem is this man is only mostly naked. There's a big difference between mostly naked and all naked.
But yeah, no, I was genuinely impressed by Kyle Mccarley. Kyle Mccarley as the old man, he was great. I think Ray Chase,
Uncle.
Sorry. Ray Chase.
Yeah.
Sorry, let me pull up the things, their names. Ray Chase, Julie Nathanson. They both did pretty good. Julie Nathanson's accent was fairly well done. Ray Chase was, like, I don't particularly think Ray Chase stood out. I think he was like a good older parent figure. But man, Abby Trott really impressed me as Abby. Fuck!
She's a natural.
Yeah, she's a natural there.
No, she really impressed me as NASA, because I think she plays both sides of NASA really well. The part where it's like, and especially because I think in the end she never actually, they were all like, she never actually wanted to hurt us. She just had to push the thing along to get to the end of it.
She's basically,
and I think her
Disney twist ending villain.
Yeah, but there was no, there's no,
If only somebody loved you, Toya.
But you know, my favorite thing leading up to that twist is that, like, right before the twist happens, you can actually just see NASA in the background, just like loading the gun and getting everything ready.
I didn't catch that.
Oh, I didn't even notice.
Like, yeah, she said that I'm gonna use a 3D printer, but we didn't know what for. I didn't catch, like, if you look in the background, that you could see her assembling it.
Oh my god, I'm trying to think of someone's name. Hold on a second.
See, I do like that they kind of do set up early on that she's a bit into the cult side of interpreting what do you call it? Secret Seven.
Seven's
Seven's
poem.
I think is what it's called.
Yeah, they set up that the poem has been interpreted by cultists, and it was like doomsday cults. So you get the idea that, okay, this is something that exists in this world, which makes sense because, hello, this QAnon exists. But the fact that she ends up being a part of that is kind of a nice twist near the end. It's like, yeah, that makes sense. Someone who would be like really into this doomsday cult would indeed pose as a nurse, get herself up in the space station, and essentially ensure the destruction of a third of the planet.
Yeah, my favorite thing is when, like, they just intentionally lead to the fact that it's like, oh man, I can't believe we didn't think of someone with the name Nazi who's suspicious.
That kind of makes sense though, because they keep sprinkling throughout the show that there's been like budget cuts, or that the ownership of the space station is transferred a couple of times. So I do get the sense that these people are kind of not the most well put together, especially by the fact that Earth apparently rebranded the UN. They're on UN 2 now. That's how bad UN 1 was.
And then by the end of it, they're on they're on UN 3.
By the end, you're right.
Well, my favorite part is by the president, they're not on UN 2, they're on UN 2.1. Which really tells you a lot about the people running the world at this point.
It is full dystopian sci-fi.
That's great. I love it.
But I do agree with Megan that the Abby has the dual role of supposedly playing like the nice nurse character, and then being the same voice when she reveals her hand without being a completely different person. It's like a believable switch.
Or being a complete cartoon villain. She's having a lot of fun, but she's like actually threatening. I was gonna say, when you called her a Disney twist villain, I was gonna say, that's not true. Alan Tudyk isn't in this dub.
But Alan Tudyk's never played one of the twist villains in any of those movies. And
No, but he is the red herring.
No, he's the red herring, yeah, but he's never been the villain.
Yeah, but you can't have the twist villain without the red herring. Therefore, Alan Tudyk needed to be the fake villain for this to be a Disney movie.
I apologize. I was wrong. He did play King Candy in Wreck-It Ralph. So he's played one of the twist villains. Spoiler for a 10-year-old movie.
No.
I'm sorry, did you just say how old movie?
It came out in 2012.
Oh yeah, it did.
Fuck you!
No.
Yeah, see, the thing is, I would actually disagree on King Kenny being a twist villain because I feel like they actually telegraphed him being the villain pretty early on. The twist is who he is specifically.
I'm sorry, you're right. Turbo was the villain, but that's not the point. The point is Alan Tudyk's in way too many Disney movies. That's the point I want to make. And he's not in this dub, though.
Are you sure?
That I'm aware.
Anyway,
of.
Are there any small animals he could be playing?
He could be playing one of the birds. You're right.
he was all the birds the entire time. Oh my god! Oh my god!
Megan,
those were Twitter birds.
There is no god in space.
Don't be absurd. There's Space Boss.
That's a good point. I'm sorry. So, anybody else got thoughts on the adult characters in the dub?
Oh my god.
As Megan reboots for the second time tonight.
They're good.
Yeah, they're all quite good. They don't get a whole lot of screen time aside from NASA, but...
Except for NASA, NASA was originally my favorite character, and then I got fucking Kari Yamato'd again.
Okay, what does that mean?
Who is this Kari Yamato?
Yeah, I'm...
Okay, time to tell you guys the story. So, back when we first recorded Fate Zero, I was the only person in the group who hadn't seen the show. And my first instinct was there's this character named Kari Yamato played by Liam O'Brien. It's Liam, right?
Yeah, it's Liam O'Brien.
And my first indication of him is him being really nice to his niece and not realizing that he was an awful, terrible person. And I said in the chat, wow, this Kari Yamato guy seems like a nice dude. I hope nothing bad ever happens to him.
That was your first mistake. You assumed nice things happen in Fate.
So, see, the anime would have had him be a nice character if you hadn't said those words.
No, it's Fate Zero and the Butcher wrote it. There was no
That's also
hope.
why I didn't recognize it. I haven't seen anything of Fate.
You should watch Zero. You'd actually probably very much enjoy it.
Just make sure you watch Zero and nothing else.
No, I can't do that. No.
As
evidenced
is
by
good.
my Year of Lupin watch that I'm doing, which is everything in chronological order. If I do any of Fate, I have to start with the very beginning, including what's that one, Tsukihari or whatever it's called, and watch the whole thing in production order.
Tsukihime?
There you go. Yes, I have to watch all of it.
I
anyway.
think that's even connected to Fate. That's just like a type mood thing.
No, that's just the genuine Nasu-verse, I guess. Anyway, what was I saying?
You were putting a reference that me and Amon didn't understand.
Yeah, there we go. But no, the thing I also really like about Abby's performance, I think more than the other adults, is how charismatic she was. Like, I genuinely did not catch the twist with NASA until it happened.
It also helps that in the show, it helps that she's injured for, once the accident happens. So that kind of shields it.
Yeah, good choice.
There's good story structure in this show. Like, it's paced and plotted out very, very well. Because, NASA gets injured, I'm like, well, shit, because, I like NASA from the bit she's been here. And also, she's the only adult on there, as far as we know. Because we don't know Chief's a person yet. I still thought he was a robot.
Yeah. She's the only one with the two siblings who know almost next to nothing about how to survive in this environment.
Exactly.
I do want to praise Julie Nathanson really quickly for kind of what Megan touched on, doing the Russian accent pretty well. It's a thing that English dubs have to do that Japanese dubs don't have to do, which is give accents to international characters. Everyone who is presumed to be basically the same nationality, and I think we can assume that based on the character names, all the characters except for Isako are Japanese. So it makes sense that the one with the most foreign-sounding name would be given the most eccentric voice as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. And speaking of eccentric voices, I guess we should probably talk about the AI really quickly.
Bright is a narc.
Yeah, Yeah, Bright's a fucking narc.
He's such a square.
I said, oh yeah, he's a square.
Look, just because that's funny doesn't make it okay.
But I was told it's hip to be a square.
I love Huey Lewis very much. I would not necessarily take advice about that from him.
Yeah, the last time somebody played hip to be a square around somebody, it didn't end well, and that apartment was a
Amon,
mess.
check this out. Ah!
It's such nice.
Do you like jazz?
What?
Anyway, no, I think... Sorry, I don't know why that came up in my mind. I was gonna say, so I think Elijah does really well as Wheatley from Portal.
Okay.
That's an old joke for gamers.
At least it
Don't
wasn't
make me
a
think
kid.
about how. Don't make me think about how Portal 2 is technically old now. I don't need that.
Look,
Yeah.
look.
I also really enjoy whoever did all the bleeps and bloops for Docky, whose name was like what? This folder was like what?
Killer,
Darkness
yeah.
Yeah, Darkness Killer. Was
Darkness Killer.
That is the most. They even call it out. It's like that's pretty emo.
Are you saying
Yeah,
a
that's-
teenager made this robot? Ah, shock.
That's like the fucking organization level of putting an X in your name to make you sound evil. But like, I think the best thing about Bright is that slowly he becomes more empathetic as things go on. And I like that there's a little bit of a worrywart kind of tone Elijah gives with this personality, where it's like, oh, he's not going full C-3PO, but he's kind of like babies first.
Now, hold on, Megan.
Sorry, I gotta correct you there, Megan. Bright is Christopher Swindle 12.
Sorry, Christopher Swindle, not Elijah. Elijah was 12.
And 12 is the voice that we hear in the final episode having like an 11th dimension conversation with Toya in outer space.
Before then, he's just kind of like there in the background, kind of giving us a basic robot voice and kind of being told to shut up whenever he's talking too much.
But to Megan's point, yeah, it's not really like full C-3PO. It's not, I am stilted and British and stuffy all the time. It's very human, which also makes sense because he's supposed to be the voice of the hotel for guests. So if you're going to ease people into this outer space setting, you would want to give a voice that is much more human and essentially non-robotic sounding. So it makes sense that they would give 12 that kind of a voice.
Yeah.
I definitely do appreciate that Bright does kind of have like this sort of this very polite, not British accent, but definitely kind of like very kind of posh tone to his voice.
Posh, that's a good word for it. Thank you. Because I was also stuck on like what what adjective to describe this, and I was only coming up with nice and British, but posh is a good word for it too.
It's fancy.
You already know.
You can tell this hotel's supposed to have a lot of money in it.
Oh, backed by Google.
Not Google, which I do appreciate.
Oh man, I was gonna wear a Uniqlo shirt when we were recording this. Damn it, I forgot.
To which I do appreciate. Like, it got brought up in the This Week in Anime about the show, but I do appreciate that sprinkled throughout the show, there's like a whole bunch of bits where they just kind of comment on the fact that this corporation funded all the technology that the space station uses, but a lot of it is underdeveloped or not used properly because it's capitalism. They're going to make this stuff as cheap as possible, even if it's cool space tech.
Yeah, it's all fabric.
Well, I mean that's norm. Well, that
and
is
plastic.
true. That's accurate to technology used on the space station.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I think most space shoots are mostly fabric with stuff on it.
Right.
But I just appreciate it. It's just kind of mostly talk about a lot of this stuff is just incomplete because of course they're going to make it as cheaply as possible.
It does make sense for this future that these space shoots would literally be made by a major clothing manufacturing company. That absolutely checks out.
It also makes sense that the safety zones that they have to get into in episode 2 aren't fully equipped with stuff because it's basically everything is still under construction.
fucking Titanic-ass space station.
Well, I was thinking more like video game patch, like the patch is coming any day now.
Yes, you two can now play Cyberpunk at like 50% settings, maybe. And it won't crap out on you.
And we joke, but it really does build to the believability of the space station with, everything not quite being all the way working because they're underfunded. And honestly, who is as interested in the technology, in the research being done up there? There's a whole scene about we need to get Toya and Konoha down to Earth because it costs too much money to keep them up on the space station all the time.
I mean, there's even a bit where they mentioned that, they can't even sue the company that's responsible for, their fake implants because
it's gone bankrupt.
It doesn't exist anymore.
And Mina even also makes that comment about, I'm going to sue for what's going on with them. And it's like, everyone's been sued who had anything to do with the space station.
Yeah, and then by the end of it, Mina makes it out pretty damn well.
I'm mad about that, honestly. We'll talk about that in a second.
No, I'm not. She earned that
More
shit.
than everybody else? What'd they say? She's like the 20th richest person in the world now? Come on.
Yeah, and then she used all of her money for
Okay,
good.
that's fair, I guess, but still.
Okay, I guess that's a good point. I need to pivot to talking about me, I guess.
Sorry, the robots are good. The AIs are good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I don't really have a lot to say about Elijah,
as an aficionado of robots, they are good robots.
Yeah, they are very good robots.
Even if Bright was a narc.
But he got a cool-ass BB-8 looking design near the end.
I mean, he went out pretty great.
That's right. He went full Batman Returns at the end there. The Dark Knight Returns. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, he is still around, so it's not quite that, but
True. But anyway, so on to the actual Orbital Children in the title.
Yeah. So, I think we could probably start with Kodahi and Roshi because they probably have the least amount of speaking lines out of these five.
At least until the very last two episodes, which is... it makes sense, because she's not even present with the main group until halfway through.
Yeah, Kota has the sickly MacGuffin of this show. She is the USB cord to the supercomputer.
Yeah. To which I would say, I'm always really impressed with how good Cassandra Morris is at doing child voices, because, literally until I saw the credits for episode 1, I was kind of like, oh, okay, so they just got, an actual child to voice this character.
Really?
And looked at the credits, I was like, oh, of course it's Cassandra.
Chat. Don't give Netflix too much credit. There are no dubs from the modern era where they've gotten actual children for the child characters, and you know that.
Memories would like to have a word with you.
It depends on the studio. It depends on the studio they hire. Great Pretender are child actors, and because it was everybody be post.
I'd say
Pompo the Cinephile, I think, has one.
It's not a common occurrence, is my point.
Yeah.
Especially not for the main leads like this. But I do agree, Cassandra does the little girl voice very well. And obviously Konoha is the archetype of, the soft-spoken, shy girl who is also very sickly. That's a very moe trope. But I do like that she's soft-spoken, but not hushed. I didn't have to turn up the volume on my TV to hear or understand what she was saying. It was very clear, easy-to-understand dialogue from the earlier scenes where she's being checked out to the later scenes where she's, conversing with the killer asteroid thingamajig near the end of the episode.
I agree with what you're saying. I definitely did dig that Cassandra had a very kind of soft tone without being too hushed. It definitely did a lot to kind of make the character likable whenever she was on. Whenever she was on screen, and while her while her arc wasn't anything too extravagant, I did kind of I didn't kind of like anything that she was kind of essentially struggling with the fact that like she kind of, she kind of knows she doesn't have long to live, and she just sort of like accepted that, which is kind of like a very heavy thing for a kid to have to deal with, and she's just kind of, I guess, saying with that as well as she can.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, I just... Oh, sorry.
and I can.
No, you can go. I want to think of what I want to say.
There's an interesting Zen fatalism around her performance.
Yeah.
I thought Cassandra kind of got that kind of fatalism across really well.
Also, one thing I just realized about like a good thing in the writing is that sometimes you'll have these characters written, these like sickly girl characters, where their death is supposed to like enhance the strength of a male character, but they don't do that in this one. In fact, Toya's entire thing is actually trying to save her, and he kind of rejects the 11th dimension cyber talk. Because he says, no, there's got to be a way to save her, and I just figured it out. It's balls to the wall dangerous, but I'm gonna go for it.
And even in the end, she still had the choice to let go, but it was her own agency
That's
that let
true,
her
you're
go
right.
forward.
She grabbed back hold when she realized, you're right, I don't need to die.
Yeah, fate is her, and I like the phrasing that she has with. I think she's talking to Toya at the end, and it's a really good little moment by Cassandra where they're talking about that they had to leave their cradles, because
Yes.
leaving the cradle is a big phrase that's used, and he talks about how his cradle was space, and her cradle was her fate. That the poem always said she had to die, but in truth it was she didn't have to die. She had to choose her... I guess in a way, death was not only physical but metaphorical. It was she could give up her agency for the better of the world, or realize the other solution was to take fate into your own hands.
Which is not just a theme for her, but is a recurring theme throughout the entire show, because it seems like the only way to save humanity from destroying itself is to reduce the surplus population. But they do find out, no, there are ways to save the population without killing people flat out.
Yeah, and it definitely does kind of make for an interesting contrast with NASA, who again is very deep on the conspiracy Kool-Aid and is very much pro. We gotta destroy we gotta destroy like 1/3 of the humans.
She's definitely one of the people who sided with Thanos in the Avengers movie.
Oh God!
I don't know about that, because I feel like the NASA.
She acted like she's like person online who'd actively sound like they're doing with Thanos, but at the end they really didn't agree.
I feel like her trajectory is more that she's very pro the poem.
To a fault.
As we show out, the poem is correct. Like, they do reduce it.
Yes.
I feel like
But not in the way you
part
thought.
Of the gimmick, I feel like part of the gimmick of the poem is that this hyperintelligence kind of figured out that, like, all right, if I just tell these idiots you need to move off planet, they're not gonna fucking do it. I need to like trick them into doing it, and that's why this feels like that's why it was played like this. And like it worked.
It did. You're right.
I had to lie to your face for several decades to get it to work, but it did.
I don't know if that whole technique where essentially the asteroid's water vaporizes in the atmosphere and that reduces the Earth's temperature. I don't know if that would actually happen. I'd feel like it would just cause the ocean levels to rise in a couple of decades. But hey, it makes for a happy ending.
Yes.
Yes, indeed it does.
Sorry. Also, one thing for anyone who's watching this podcast who saw that there's a warning on Netflix for nudity as a reason for its rating, the only thing that we have is we have like an 11th dimension conversation in outer space where the characters are like, they're not naked, but they're like they're bathed
They're
in
gold!
light. Yeah, it's like some Barbie doll nudity going on.
Basically it's like if you've seen the Biobird Digivolutions and Digimon Tamers, it's basically just that.
Exactly. Yeah. So nothing that would actually scare your mom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So is there anything else you guys want to add about Koda, or are you good to?
I really think that the best part about Cassandra's performance to me, again, is like he said, whoever said it was soft-spoken, but not, like, so low that you couldn't hear it. I also really like that she actually sounded very terrified at points. About, like, the person's like, well, I guess it's my day to die, and it's like, okay, I shouldn't be akinning death to this. It's like the person who, when you're at the grocery store and you can see the dead-eyed poor retail worker, and it's like, I hope you have a nice day, and they're like, you too, I'm having a great day. I twitch.
Speaking of capitalism being evil. And she only has a couple lines to get that across, and I never quite thought about that point, Megan, but you're right, that is an element that's conveyed through just the couple of lines, that she's kind of got the dead eyes in her. But who doesn't have the dead eyes is the brother, who's really excited to be there.
So this is a totally random aside, but I apparently learned. But I somehow just learned that Tsunami in Latin America is getting laid back camp and keep your hands off Anakin, and I'm extremely jealous. Why can't we have nice things?
Because we didn't like anime
because you live
as
in
soon
America.
As Latin America did. That's also why. But also, Latin America just liked anime. They thought it was cool before we did.
They're the entire reason that Saint Seiya still
and in a
exists.
terrible capitalist reason, Latin America is probably viewed as a less monetarily valuable area, so it's easier to do things there and cheaper.
It's not incorrect.
Apparently, like, Sentai is going to release Ezokin for CR, but who fuck knows now?
Yeah. I guess we'll have to see what happens there. Anyway, moving up the list. Next, we have Hirochi, and
It's
Miles Tails' powers goes to
there's
space.
no getting around it. Let's go straight to it. It's
I
just Tails.
have a question for you. How long has Colleen been voicing Tails?
I want to say at least at least for the 2010s, I would say.
Yeah, like she does it throughout the entirety of the Sonic X cartoon, and that started. I don't think that was her. Was that her in the Sonic X cartoon? I thought it was. Hold on, I'm gonna double check.
Because Sonic X was still back when they had the New York 4 Kids cast, so I don't think that was her.
You might be right. Hold on.
Because I'm pretty sure the only person from that cast who migrated to the current one was Mccarley.
In this case, I regret to inform you that I did not have that impression because I don't think I've watched a single thing that Colleen has voiced Miles in. Except for that clip that went around Twitter last week of her doing the lemon speech from Portal 2. Saw that. That was very funny.
Yeah.
I don't think I've heard this woman play that character once before in my life. The last time I checked in with Sonic was Sonic Heroes on the GameCube.
The last time that when life gives you lemons, you throw those lemons back.
It's me, the guy who's gonna burn your house down with the lemons.
It's good.
Okay, you are. I'm sorry, you are right. She has. She wasn't in Sonic X. She was in Sonic Boom, the cartoon.
Like I said, 2010s.
Yeah, you're right. So.
But yeah, it does sound a lot like Tails, but again, I do appreciate that it is like a very convincing child voice.
Good excitable kid voice here.
A good nerdy, excitable. I get to go to outer space. Oh my god! Yes, you may flick me in the head.
I get to pee in my own suit. Just because
I do like that.
Colleen O'Shaughnessy fucking nails that delivery of just the young. Okay. Like, I gotta be real. That is such a fucking teenage boy thing to be excited about. That is not what I would be thinking about if I was in space. I would be thinking about if I could can a fart up there, but not peeing in my own suit.
I would disagree slightly, only because I was not a space kid when I was a kid. Dinosaurs was the thing I was really into. But that is definitely on par with the kind of thing of like, oh man, I'm gonna do like the thing that normal people would clearly find awful, but I find fascinating because I love this shit.
Oh, I was gonna say, you were a dinosaurs kid, now you're a skeleton's adult. That makes a lot of sense, thinking that most dinosaurs we see these days are skeletons.
Hey kid, you want a femur?
All dinosaurs. I'm sorry, all dinosaurs you see these days are skeletons.
It's true.
I mean, excuse me, the American alligator is still alive and
Okay,
kicking.
now hold your horses there, because that's a stretch. You gonna go and say birds are dinosaurs too?
It's not technically a dinosaur. It's just a very, 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 very old lizard. It's like horseshoe crabs, just have not evolved at all in millions of years.
Why
Yeah,
should
exactly.
they? Even though they're fucking
Evolution.
terrifying.
I've made another animal. Is it a crab again? Maybe.
Well, yeah.
Maybe.
I'm sorry. That takes away from Colleen's performance. Yeah, it's the only critique I have has nothing to do with her performance. It's that Hiroshi kind of stops getting anything to do in the second half of the series. It's like he's relevant when they're trying to get to safety because he's read the manual. He's a nerd who kind of knows a little bit more about the space suit and everything. But then once they get the twist reveal, he doesn't get to be part of the hacking, and he's not really integral in their grand escape back down to Earth. So that's unfortunate. But before that,
He's kind of along for the
unfortunately,
ride.
But before that, I love Colleen being like happy to be flicked in the head. It's like, please sir, may I have another? I love the being able to integrate the tech jargon about how, you know, like the air pressure is leaving or the elevator, how it's working. Like, it's all the little details in here without losing the voice. It's still very much the little boy voice, but still knowledgeable about the technology around them.
Yeah. And I think my favorite thing is that, like, Cassandra, they are the other most convincing child voice.
Oh, yeah. Actually, how old is Hiroshi supposed to be? I forget.
Like, probably 13 or 12.
Yeah, he feels like a 12-year-old boy.
I also want to talk about Cassandra's other great delivery, which is when the other parents start calling Mina because she's about to die. And Colleen's delivery of, oh great, now everyone is gonna know my family's crazy. Like, that's what's going through his mind is, oh jeez, Rick.
There's probably a reason they got divorced.
I'm gonna guess the dad was like Mina and not the mom.
You know what? That's a good headcanon. Get on AO3 and start making that fic.
So with that in mind, I think it is finally time to talk about Mina.
Can we please?
Yeah.
Like, this character could have been very annoying. Like, Mina's entire portrayal... Okay, I have this problem in some anime where they shoehorn in an idol character, and it's mostly because they have, like, they want to cross-promote music as well as the anime itself. So when I saw that clip, and I think Cartoon Cypher put it up, that compared the English dub to the Japanese of Mina doing her Mina. I was like, oh god, is this going to be another cross promotion for like Twitch or a YouTube channel or something? But it's not. It's the levity. You actually nailed it pretty much, Jet, when you said she's like if oh god, I'm blanking
Mimi.
on. Thank you.
Mimi.
If
Mimi?
yeah, there's too many M's in there. And Mimi's my favorite character, too. I'm sorry I messed that up. But if Mimi was in the show, because Mimi was also the one kind of out of place of the action in Digimon, so is Mina. She's out of place, but it's good because it's a good bit of levity compared to everyone else who is mostly competent in, you know, the death situation that they're in. And Terra Sans does very good at capturing that.
Yeah, like a lot of the kids in the show feel pretty believable, but like Mina definitely just modes like, okay, this is just an actual teenager.
Yeah, this is a teenager with a YouTube channel. Like, I think the thing that really sells Terra's performance for me, and it's why it's my favorite performance in the show, is that she is so earnest as Mina. Like, I could definitely tell, like, Mina is, she again makes Mina come off as a very vain but not mean-spirited teenage girl.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, she does almost try to get Toya canceled, but that immediately regrets it.
She's a little mean-spirited, but in the way that a lot of teenagers just kind of are a little mean-spirited.
She's mean-spirited, but I think it goes to the heart of the show that both she and Toya learned that deep down they are not that different as people, and that their own experiences in their respective cradles clouded their mind. That they both had to, for Mina, she had to step up. And the thing is that, of all things, her continuous stream is what ends up getting all the information out about what happened, and starts causing the change in the world. If it wasn't for Mina showing that space was not, even though space was hard, it wasn't 100% something that you could never come back from, and that you just had to get out there and do it. And for me, I think the biggest compliment I can give Tara is that we always keep comparing Mina to Mimi from Digimon. And they did announce that they are going to be dubbing the Adventure 2020 show. And it's actually my hope that that Mimi gets to be Felice's replacement, because unfortunately we did lose Felice Sampler last year. Rest in peace. And honestly, I believe if Felice had been alive, that Felice would have been this character.
Oh, I can hear that for sure.
Yeah, I can definitely hear it.
I can hear it, but I think that the best thing about it is, even though I can hear it and it holds the same spirit, Tara really made this all her own.
I think the line that really encapsulates her persona is when she gets the internet back and she sees, I've got 33 million followers. Excellent, a third of the way to my goal.
Yeah, she never stops thinking about her goal. And then I think the other thing that really sells it for her is at the end, where even though she had a concert on the fucking moon, she's like, I just bought this yesterday and I came because I got this email. You guys want to go?
Yeah. Yeah, I think one of my favorite things about Tara's performance is like her delivery when she's like in the bulkhead and like, and she's doing the stream and she's like literally the last person to realize she's about to die.
Yeah.
It's like literally everyone on her live stream is flipping out and she just keeps going. And then it finally sinks in. Yeah, that was great.
Again, it was a nice bit of levity from the near-death situation that we were having at that moment.
Yeah, I also appreciate that, like, in the middle of that, like, she gets, like, a call from her dad. She's like, oh, no. She's like, how many times have I told you to interrupt me while I'm live streaming? And it's like, and she's like, oh, no, I'm not actually about to die. It's okay.
Oh, by the way, speaking of that phone call, can we talk about the director's idea about what phones are going to be like in the future? That you actually have to take your hand, make it into the shape of a phone, and put your mouth to your pinky and your thumb to your ear to act as a phone?
That is a beautiful, like, last panel of a Galaxy Brain meme idea. I adore it. Yes, correct. Bravo.
You have taken the Rock On Dude sign and turned it into an actual app. Good job.
That's genius. I love it.
I mean,
yeah. It does feel like the kind of thing someone would do because I think it was funny.
No, that is absolutely a thing that could happen because someone starts as a gag, and because it's the first one there, that's just what everyone else ends up doing, and it's like, I never meant for it to be real. Oh no. I've permanently affected culture in stupid ways. What have I done?
I do question. I'm sorry. I question that whole your hand is an iPhone thing, because at one point Mina does the zoom in thing, where you pinch your fingers and stretch them out to zoom in on the comment. I'm like, so is the camera on the other side of the hand, or like how does that work exactly? How do you take a shower? How does any of this work exactly?
Well, it's a glove. You take it off.
Is it a glove? Like, it seems
I'm assuming it's a glove.
Pretty hard to see.
I don't think people have phones built into their hands, man.
Hey,
we're not there yet.
We're not at iPhone level yet. You don't think?
I think there's supposed to be something they're wearing. It's just really, really thin, science material or whatever.
So one other thing I want to mention that's kind of like really hilarious in hindsight is that like is that again? It's something I saw brought up when I was like reading the This Week in Anime column about it. But it's like when you consider that the entire plot happens because like the AI-7 just kind of like just kind of predicted the whole scenario and kind of like gradually and like effectively kind of orchestrated the whole thing, including like all the characters' actions.
Mm-hmm.
It means that if you think about it, this AI predestined Mina to become the most popular idol on the internet.
Oh, probably. Frickin' Oracle of Delphi there.
7. Man! 7. Oh my god, no, it's that meme of the little kid with the ball, and it's something happening, the kid and the it's like Apollo, a ball that says
Apollo, the gift of prophecy.
Apollo's gift of prophecy, and making a dumb joke on Twitter. That's what that is.
The Cubs would win the World Series.
Yo, they did, and I woke up, I fell on Steph's floor at 1 a.m. and saw they won the World Series. And then I got on a plane to Detroit the next day.
That was a great weekend.
Yeah.
But yeah, so...
That was mostly a great weekend.
So, does anyone have any critiques about Tara's performance of Mina, or even Mina as a character?
I mean, I think that there are some times where maybe she was a little, like, she didn't have the energy. But again, at that point, it's like fucking nitpicking.
Yeah, there were a couple of lines here and there that maybe could have been like a little more energetic, but for the most part, she was great pretty much the entire way through.
Like, at first I did think it was a little callous that she was live streaming in that final episode when Konoha and Toya are, like, you know, almost dead, basically. But it's being broadcast to everyone in the world to see. It's not for clout, it's because everyone wants to see what's going on.
I do think that it's interesting when they're like, when they're debating about like what to do with 7 and like whether or not they should like, I guess have second 7 learn about like everything humans are doing, and she's the one like and she's the one to point out like like biased media.
The internet?
Use the internet.
The whole internet?
She's the one to be like, wait, you want to show it the whole internet?
You do know what people use the internet for, right? Bow, chicka, bow, bow, chicka, bow, bow.
Just imagine it seeing a lot of porn and cat videos.
Does anybody remember the entire musical song that was popular in, like, the early-ish 2000s when Naruto was still new?
I'm pretty sure that song has, like, never left the human consciousness.
The internet is for porn. Sorry, Kate. The internet is for porn. I masturbate. All these guys unzip their flies for porn.
It really...
Porn. So grab your dick and double click.
That...
And those two people wrote the music for Frozen.
Like I'm in high school over again.
It's very telling, and this goes back to how positive the show is, that the connection to all of humanity convinces the 7 comet, basically, that yes, humanity and humans are the same thing, and they should be allowed to live. Like, I should not destroy them, which we kind of know was a ruse by the end of the show, but still, that's optimistic considering there's actually been there's been bots that have been programmed with, like, days and days of Twitter conversations, and almost every time it ends up being like a racist asshole conspiracy theorist nut job.
Yeah.
So yeah, very optimistic cartoon this show is.
I appreciate it, even if my cynicism is a bit,
Yeah. I mean, it's hard not to be.
I'm not gonna hold that against the show. I'd rather this than endless, dreary misery. But
Right. No, this show actually kind of reminded me of another high concept show that I know Jet wants to cover later, Penguin Drum, which also had a death cult mentality to it, which kind of propagated the idea that maybe we should burn society to the ground because it's just gonna it's just gonna respawn as awful institutions. Whereas this show is more like, no, we can save the planet by just working together and working towards similar goals, basically.
Yeah.
But anyways, we should talk about one of those awful institutions by talking about the narc cop kid on the spaceship.
Oh, yeah. It is time to talk about Harusaruhi, who again, as we mentioned before, his life's goal is basically just to be a cop.
Frickin' Zenigata wannabes. Anyways, I'll just go ahead and say Adam MacArthur, I don't really know from anything before this. Not really like a very distinct voice to my ears, but nicely balances out the protocol-centric mentality with realizing that in the end they kind of have to break some rules to get the job done.
Yeah, I got a little more familiar with Adam's voice since I've heard him in a couple of things over the last year or so, and I've definitely enjoyed him in everything I heard of him. He just has a very kind of very natural, kind of down to earth tone to his voice. I think.
Even if he is a narc.
I think that works really well. Even for a character like this, who is again just really, really wants to be a cop.
Down to earth.
Well, that is him
Shut up,
and Toya's
Noah.
whole conflict. So
Bring you back to earth.
And I think it's gonna be a long time. No, I want to say this one. First of all, Noah, I know you have a terrible, terrible backlog. But of all the things that Adam MacArthur has been in anime-wise, you really owe it to yourself to check out his double act in Shadow's House.
Hell?
Shadow's House.
Oh, Shadows.
House.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, everybody except for a couple characters in that show play a double act as their characters. It's all really well done, and Adam is exceptional in that. And I think he's really good in this, too. I think that this is surprisingly sounds a little older, actually, than his Shadow House character. And I think they're, roughly-ish the same age. But I think the thing I like about Toya is that he does have such a childish sense of justice. Because he's like, I'm gonna arrest you because... I just want to compliment Adam's really awkwardness when he's like, oh my god, I'm making my first arrest. And he's like, oh shit, how do I do this?
That's everyone's mentality when they do their first LARP.
Yeah, so,
Adam was really good at making me want to give Toya a wedgie for the first half of the show or so.
Like I said, Adam MacArthur is slowly building up a rose gallery of punchable children. On one end, you have Yuji from Jujutsu Kaisen, who is by far the most punched teenager that he plays, but the least punchable. Even if he does have mediocre taste in women.
Well, honestly, I didn't side against Adam's character when he first showed up, because you gotta keep in mind, up to that point, all we'd seen of Toya is him being this angsty, yeah, welcome to space, and
it's Toya being a little jackass.
I think I'm supposed to side with the cop in this, until you realize we're about to die, and you got me in handcuffs, asshole.
Yeah. Also, I love his little noises when he's slinking up under the space blanket.
Yeah, that's great.
That is a real thing, I think, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
I think the thing that Adam does, though, is he does make, Amon says, Toya out to be just, not obnoxious, but enough that you would want to give this kid a swirly.
Yeah, I don't hate him, but it's you are such a, he's literally a child. You're such a child, kid. Grow up.
And then he has to watch Sweetly burn up in the atmosphere.
Yeah, he does grow up by the end of the show, so you know.
Yeah, I like how eventually he's just you gotta... I like how Wheatley's just you gotta let me fly, man, I'm a peacock.
I do appreciate how he's just kind of gradually forced to break more rules over the course of the show. And I appreciate Adam's delivery as he's just kind of gradually forced to accept that he has to break a bunch of rules.
The begrudgingness as the levels go higher and higher.
Yeah, Megan, were you the one who compared him to a D&D guy who just interprets lawful good in the most obnoxiously literal way possible? Yeah, that's
Yes!
definitely who he is.
Yeah, he's the lawful good
definitely.
character. It's corrupting your lawful good character.
And you know, that's a good contrast to Toya. You know, Toya is completely nihilistic, and Tayo's like, no, I want to solve the same problems, but I think the only way to do it is to follow everything by the book, and if you deviate that little bit, you going down.
Oh yeah, I especially appreciate the bit where you know they're like where he has to like lift a whole bunch of AI limiters, and it's like, oh man, I've broken so many laws.
Apparently, it's so bad that when he does that, it like unrestricts all of the UN AI on Earth too.
Congrats! And he's just like, oh no!
Breaks the internet.
And then by the end, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna stay here and make the world a better place.
UN 2.1. That still cracks me up. Like the League of what was it? The League of Nations didn't rebrand themselves as League of Nations Part 2. The Articles of Confederation didn't be called Articles of Confederation Second Patch.
In fairness, no one actually liked the League of Nations who wasn't named Woodrow Wilson, so why would they keep it around?
Good point. So yeah, I'll have to keep an ear out for more Adam stuff going forward.
Yes, you should. He's really good.
Cartoons. Have you seen Star versus the Forces of Evil?
You know what? That's the only like mainstream Disney cartoon that I haven't followed up on.
Well, he's in that, so if you watch that,
I can watch all of it now. It is all streaming on Disney Plus.
Well, there you go.
Unlike all the episodes of Amphibia, which should be up soon. Come on, Disney. I want to see them get home. Sorry. I really like my frog cartoon.
I was gonna say he's also in Tokyo Revengers and Saint's Magic Power. So yeah. Anyway, did everybody go? Sorry, Jet. Let me do your job.
Listen, I think what you all said was pretty good. Really loved Adam's performance. He did a good job of helping the character to evolve as, you know, he kind of learns to loosen up a bit and maybe not be so strict with rules.
Indeed.
And it's a pretty good time. And with that, we can finally talk about our lead angsty boy, Toya over here.
We got words about this kid.
Yeah.
Most of them good. Performance-wise, they're all good. Like, I like that Griffin gets to play kind of an angsty, above-it-all kid who doesn't even consider himself human. I mean, he's not an Earthling, and he calls people Earthling as almost a slur. So that's an interesting contrast. But I do like that his entire arc is indeed going from hating humanity to accepting humanity. That's an interesting arc to go through, and one that not many characters in anything can go through, because most people are also human. The only other anime I can think of that kind of goes through a similar arc is Princess Mononoke, ironically enough.
I do like Griffin's progression to his character arc. Like admittedly, it is kind of funny seeing him, like, just fully embracing Enzor persona in the beginning. Like, there's even a bit in the beginning where they're like talking about like how Toya has so many followers, and it's like immediately followed up by him just like flipping someone off.
So you see before you a man who has a large follower count and not only does not care, probably is kind of irritated by it.
Yeah, I also like the bit where like, you know, when the kids all first get to the Space Hotel and meet Tower for the first time, and he has to give them the whole like introduction speech, and I appreciate Griffin's delivery where it's just like the most like, man, I really do not want to be here delivery. That's great.
But. And see, I didn't know what the show was going to be at first, because I went into this knowing nothing about it aside from it's by the Den Coil guy. So that first episode, the first half of it, I was a little unsure if I was going to like it, because it was very like, okay, where's this going? What's going to happen? But as soon as we get the falling down the shaft scene, we get Toyo and Tayo going down the hole, and then the comet hits. and all of a sudden it's turned into Gravity the anime. No, Oblivion the anime. Sorry, I forgot what the name of that movie was. Then it turns into a really good anime.
What's Oblivion?
Or what's that one Sandra Bullock movie? Where she
Gravity.
Says,
You had it right the first time.
Yeah,
Gravity?
The first time, it's Gravity.
Sorry, there too many movies have single word titles now. They need to stop doing that.
But yeah, that's pretty much this Gravity with kids, but hey, it works.
It does. And as I was saying to these guys before we started recording, I actually wouldn't have minded if this was a slightly longer series and it was like 3 or 4 episodes was them going through different struggles to get from, to the safe zone, essentially. Like, I think that could have been stretched out a little bit more.
It's possible. I mean, I do know that Mitsuo Iso was trying to shop this as like a regular TV series initially, but going to get funding for it. So
right.
Instead, we ended up with 2 movies.
Exactly, which is it's a pretty good cutoff point where they do episodes 1 and 3 make up a good story, and then we pick it back up for 4 through 6.
Yeah. You can definitely tell what this split was.
Mm-hmm.
I think
the last thing I was going to say is, and I kind of mentioned this earlier, is that Griffin's voice is the only one that sounds a little older than his character's supposed to be, and that was, and it didn't take too long to get used to that, because I've heard that before. I've heard shows and movies where the teenage characters are very clearly voiced by older male actors, but it was fine in this case here. I think it helps that he has more to do than just grumble and whine all the time. Griffin actually gets to exposit some of the information. He gets to banter with the characters, both the ones on the space station and the newcomers, and then he gets to talk to God, essentially. He gets to talk to 12 in the final episodes of the show. So the voice didn't bug me too much after the first episode.
Yeah, I did mention it before, but I did think out of like all the kids in the cast, Griffin was the one who needed not even an entire episode. I would say maybe just like a scene or two to figure out what kind of child voice he wanted to do, and then once he figured it out, he was fine for the rest of the show.
Yeah.
You were about to say something, Megan?
Oh, what? Oh, about Griffin?
Yeah, I thought you were about to say something. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I just hadn't really said a lot yet. I think the thing that really works about Griffin's performance is that you can really tell how much of a change that the character arc has gone through in Griffin's tone of voice, by how much softer he makes himself around other characters, how much more vulnerable he sounds, and in his big climax, how he keeps kind of that defiant attitude he's had all show, but it's for a good cause now. And obviously, I love the speech at the beginning where he's, giving that dead inside, yeah, welcome to Arby's kind of speech.
Space Arby's.
I wouldn't be here without the big meat, without the meats. Thank you, Arby's. They have the meats. Kind of speech. And then, I think the thing, too, that really got me was in that really big moment of vulnerability where, after NASA dies, and right after NASA dies, and they have this moment between him and, or it's right before she dies, where him and Konoha have this moment where he's like, am I the same as him? Because he had remembered, he said how much he wanted humanity to die. And how they needed to die for the better of everybody else.
Which I don't know.
And he's like...
I don't know if that was really...
Sorry, and he's like... And he's like, the way that he goes on about how he doesn't know how is he any better, and Konoha's like, well, you wanted to do this all to help someone else, you didn't want to do it because somebody told you to. I thought was really good. And then, obviously at the end where, he's, talking about breaking the cradle, I think, God, Griffin gives such a delivery in that, so, top-notch shit.
Yeah, I agree.
Did you have anything you want to add, Amon?
It's good. I think Griffin does a very good job of selling his not completely understandable deep-seated bitterness for a lot of the first half of the show. But I think I like how he's able to do it in a way that when things start to turn, you don't hold that against him, if that makes sense. Like he never comes off as just like so like bitter and angry that he just stops like. And some you've even kind of character where it's like, oh, why should I like you? You're so miserable to be around. And I think Griffin does a good job of not tipping over into that. I think the show also does a good job not tipping over into that too. But like he pulls it together. It's good. Yeah, when the chips are down, he puts the effort in. Yeah.
It also helps that the show is like very quick to call out on his behavior, and it also kind of paint him as, I guess, kind of a tsundere in a sense, which is kind of funny. Especially just kind of like as you see him kind of gradually bond with the other kids over the course of the show, even by the end of the Moonwalk, where he's like, oh, I sent all you Earthlings to die, but you guys aren't too bad, I guess. But yeah, I like Griffin's performance a lot. I thought he did a really good job of selling Toria's whole evolution from being a bit of an edgelord to kind of like opening up and like caring about humanity a little more. It was very nice. And with that, we are through the entire cast. So. Are there any final thoughts you guys have?
Yeah, no, this is my front runner for Anime of the Year. I loved the show. I thought it was the right blend of science fiction and heart. And I think that's the best thing that the cast really got apart, was that it got the heart down, it got the kid down, it got just a lot of the empathy out of me. I don't think any twist was ever, fucked up for me vocally. Like, of all the things, the thing with the chips, I actually didn't call coming. And I think at the end of the day, this is definitely probably some of the best money that Netflix has used making anime!
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so, this is probably, like, I was kind of excited when they announced this, but, like, I don't know, Netflix has kind of been on a little bit of an uptrend in funding anime. I've heard really good things about Kotaro.
I haven't completely finished that show yet, but what I've seen of it so far, it's fantastic.
Like, that has been really good, and, as of last night, I am now hyped for The Vampire in the Garden, because I found out it was the, director of, Empire of Corpses, so, Amon, I'll see you in May. Like, Amon, just nod your head. That being said, so yeah, definitely give this dub a check out. I think it's definitely going to be something I think about towards the end of next year with the dubbies as well, especially for, in my particular case, Tara Sands and a supporting performance, nomination. She's definitely my front runner right now. I'd probably do for comedic performance, because this is kind of a drama show, but she's very much the comedic performance.
Yeah, for sure. I was pretty excited to check out this show because, as mentioned before, I was a pretty big fan of Dental Coil, which admittedly I blind bought out of reputation, and then I ended up really liking even more than I thought I would, so it made me pretty excited for this show, and this more or less ended up living to my excitement. It's a pretty nice, comfy sci-fi thing, and even though it gets pretty high concept towards the end, it never feels too out there, and it's grounded up in its characters and like general ideas, and it never feels too difficult to follow. It's a lot of fun the whole way through. It's got a lot of charm to it, and we haven't talked about the production much, but the show also looks really nice. It's pretty well animated.
Oh yeah, no, this is a really, really nice animated show. I just don't know what studio.
That would be Production H+, which I'm not sure. I'm not sure what else they have in terms of like their overall pedigree, but it is worth noting that they are also the studio attached to the upcoming DDD Destruction anime that we're getting. So
oh boy.
So yeah, I can get excited for that.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Yeah, so, Noah, about you guys, anything you wanted to add here?
So I gotta say, expectations were pretty high going into this. Like I said, Den Coil was one of my favorite animated anythings I've seen in a while, and so I had a pretty high expectation for Orbital Children as well, including the dub, and I think it met it. With the talent assembled and the balance between both the silly, the tech side, the social commentary side, the idols side, like it's just a weird mix of a lot of stuff put together. But yeah, the dub team definitely translated everything in the original Japanese into understandable dialogue. I really liked pretty much the whole cast. Everyone fit where they were needed to and balanced out each other's personalities, not just personality-wise, but vocally as well, which is always a plus. So, yeah, if you were on the fence about whether or not you want to watch this in original Japanese sub or if you want to watch it in English dub, I can highly recommend the dub. Not just because it's really good, but also because you might want to have a break from the massive amounts of information being included in the subtitles by just having it all translated on the screen for you. So, yeah, and for the length of the show itself, since it's only a couple of episodes long, like it's the length of 2 movies put together, a really easy recommendation overall as well. If you're scouring through the bajillion anime that are available online these days and you're trying to whittle down something to watch something new, give Orbital Children a try. I can certainly say it's going to be highly unlike anything else that you have seen in quite a while.
Cool, Amon.
That's a good show. I'll be honest, when I finished this, I was surprised that Netflix ponied up money for this. Like I've not watched everything Netflix has funded because who has that kind of time? But at least on their anime front, I feel like they tend to go for stuff that feels a little more. Yes, I could see this doing well among like general audiences, at least, if not necessarily anime fans. And it's surprising that they put money behind something that like this is. I do think this is a pretty accessible show in a lot of ways, but also is very like ambitious and clearly not afraid to just like do its thing and not worry too much about whether or not like the masses at large are going to be into it or anything. Which I appreciated. Like I feel like we could use more of that. I frankly like that was always the hope with turns to streaming. Like, you don't need to be on network television. You can be a little more weird and out there, and that never quite panned out that way. So it's kind of nice to see an example where, like, actually that did kind of happen. That's nice.
Yeah, if nothing else, I do appreciate that Netflix did display enough confidence in this to start streaming Coil.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of a shame they couldn't get the dub rights, but like it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, those Blu-ray sets aren't too expensive. They also aren't that hard to find. So, yeah.
Yeah, like this is just a really like nice, interesting, ambitious show, and I think that this dub clearly has a lot of like care and effort put into it, and it's just. Also, it's not too long, which I appreciate. Like, this is basically a pair of tight 90s, and you don't see that as much anymore these days, and I appreciate it. I appreciate something that's just, like, well-made and well-paced and well-put together. It's good.
As mentioned before, the show is available on Netflix and only Netflix. So that's where you can find the show. But if you want to find us, we are the Dub Talk Podcast. You can find us on the Twitters, the Instagram. Tumblr is always dead. We're always on Twitch, usually streaming games, pretty much every day except Friday when we have new episodes of the podcast going up.
Yes.
Yeah, before we wrap up, I'd like to give a shout out to our lovely patrons in the $5 tier. We have Michelle Travis, and Nico Robin with Yowie Heads, and Victor Marabota. And in the $10 tier, we have Anthony Brown, Carly Lessacow, Crimson Akenda, Jacob Olson, Jared Hawkins, Julia W., Lenti, and Otaku Anthony. Thank you for your support, guys. We really appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Yep. So, anything you guys want to plug real quick?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at QueenEra2. I also hang around the Funimation Discord and the the Anime Dubs Discord. And occasionally slink around Cartoon Cypher's Discord too. But you have to be a Patreon for them.
Let's see, what am I doing? What am I doing these days? Okay, well, you can follow me on Twitter at NoahClue, where if you like all this discussion about animation for one part of the world, or even outer space, then we have a lot more discussions like that over on my Twitter account. Honestly, if anybody starts creating animation in outer space, I will be right there, following the production from beginning to end. We have animation from all over the world. Why not have animation from outside of the world as well?
You can find me at AmonDuelUS on Twitter. Duel has you two using it. I talk about stuff. I have a dusty old song if you want.
Oh, of course.
Always.
I'm gonna go on the fact that the space station is at least nominally supposed to be a hotel. Because initially I tried to find things like satellite in the title, and it turns out most songs about satellites are about metaphors, not actual satellites. So instead, I'm going to specifically recommend the song "La Femme D'argent" by the French electronica band Air, because it sounds like it's a lovely song, and it sounds like something that could absolutely be an ad for this space hotel. And if you like that, you should listen to the rest of that album, Moon Safari. It's very, very good.
Cool. Alright, and I'm Jet. You can find me on the Twitter, that Divine where I will just usually be talking about cartoons or anime or whatever is happening in the world, I suppose. You can also find me on another podcast O&A, where I usually talk about anime news alongside fellow Dub Talkers Andrew. So yeah, that more or less wraps us up here. Thanks for joining me tonight.
Oh, this is great. I loved it.
It's always nice when weird sort of art house stuff gets made. Yep. So that basically wraps us up here. So to all our viewers, have a good night, and until next time, Otakuwan.
Rock over Boston, rock on Chicago.